Hey everybody, James here from All American Guardian. Okay, we're going to talk about updates real quick, and I am speaking specifically about WordPress updates. So when you log into your WordPress dashboard, up here on the top left, you see this little button here that says updates, and there's a number next to it. This is an indication of how many plugins or pieces of software like themes that are on your WordPress installation that need to be updated. So if you click on it, it's pretty simple. It's actually showing us here that there's plugins. The one called Askamet needs to be updated, and then there's 1, 2, 3 themes that need to be updated. Plus, there's a new version of WordPress that we can update to. So typically, before you do any kind of updates, I would suggest that you do a full site backup. This can be accomplished with a simple plugin, a free plugin actually. The one that I like to use is called Updraft Plus. We'll talk about that on a separate video, but right now, because the website is brand new, there's not really much risk that we're going to lose anything. Typically, when you do updates, everything's just fine, there's no problems. But once in a blue moon, and this has happened to me on more than one occasion, when you update either a plugin or sometimes even the actual core files of WordPress, when you do that update, you think everything's going to be fine, and then when you try to go to the front side of your website, the public end of it, it's just a white screen, and there's maybe a few lines of some kind of error code or something like that, and they call this the white screen of death in the WordPress community. So that's something you never want to see, and it's totally going to freak you out, and then you have to figure out what to do to fix it, which I probably will do a video on how to fix that at some point in the future. But anyhow, for right now, because your website is brand new, if your website's brand new, you know, some of you watching this may have established WordPress sites that are years old already. So before you hit any of those update buttons, it's real easy to update. All you have to do is click a button. But I would do them one at a time, and after each update, go to the front end of your website and make sure everything looks okay. If you want to be super safe, then you need to install a backup plugin and back up your entire site before you do any updates. That way, if something goes wrong, something goes haywire, and your site is lost, you've got the backup. All you have to do is reinstall WordPress, get a clean install, and then install the backup plugin. You've got the file that you can just upload, and your website's back to the way it was before you did an update and lost everything. So then doing it one by one and then checking the front end of your site, if you updated one of these plugins, let's say you had 5 things to update. You update the first thing, you check your site, everything's good. You update the second thing, you check your site, everything's good. You update the third item, you go to the front of your site and it's broken. Well, now you know that it was that third thing that you updated that actually caused the error. And so it's probably just an error in the code and the new update that they released. There's something in that code that didn't mesh well with either the latest version of WordPress, or it might not mesh well with the current version of WordPress that you're using, or it may not mesh well with the other plugins on your site and those versions. So there's a lot of variables here because we're using WordPress's core software put out by WordPress.org and Automatic, but we're also using plugins and themes that are put out by all different third-party coders, third-party vendors that build these themes and do this coding, and they all code in different ways a little bit. So not everything always meshes together, and that's where you have to be careful. But anyhow, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to just update without doing a backup because this is the brand new site. It's just the test site, just to show you what happens. So it says downloading the update, unpacking the update. Let's see. Come on, little buddy. It's thinking. I think I'm going to overlay some music right here. You're probably hearing music right now. Preparing to install, enabling maintenance mode, copying the required files. It's almost there. Maybe kind of a big update. That might be why it's taking so long. There might be a lot of files that it is changing. There we go. Okay. So after you update the core WordPress files, a lot of times it'll bring you to a screen like this that kind of, it says major customizer improvements, code error checking, and more. A lot of customizer workflow improved. It just kind of gives you a rundown, coding enhancements, even more widget updates, site building improvements. So it gives you kind of a rundown of what it just did, what was included in the new updates. And you can see right here, version 4.95 addressed some security issues and fixed 28 bugs. And that's what's awesome about WordPress, is that they're continually updating and finding problems within the code and fixing those, finding security issues and fixing those. And overall, it just gets better and better and better. It's a better product today than it was yesterday, or it's a better product now on my website than it was 5 minutes ago because I just did an update. So that's what's so awesome about WordPress, and best of all, it's free. So I mean, what more could we ask for as business owners who have websites than free, awesome software to build our websites with and to run our websites with? So that's it today for updates. Just know that the importance of doing these updates is mainly a security issue, but also a functional issue. When some of these plugins go a long time without being updated, there's security risk there, because as hackers find flaws in the code of some of these plugins developed by third-party developers, coders, they learn how to exploit these little loopholes or backdoors in some of these plugins, and the developers of the plugins, they figure out, oh crap, the hackers are getting in through our plugin through this back door. We need to close it up. We need to do a security patch, and we need to release a new version of the software to fix that issue for our end users, which is you and I. So if you're not doing these updates and not keeping up with them, you're putting your site at risk for being hacked and taken over. And sometimes, and we'll talk all about site hacks later, but sometimes you won't even know that your site's been hacked. So anyhow, also it's important for functionality, because sometimes when you don't do an update and you're not keeping the software where it needs to be on the latest version, your site will not function properly. That plugin may not function like it used to. It may throw errors on people when they're visiting your site from, say, an iPhone or an Android, but it looks fine on a laptop. So from a functionality standpoint and a security standpoint, you've got to keep all of your software on the back end of your dashboard updated at all times. If you don't know how to do this, or you're unsure about how to do this, or it drives you nuts having to do this all the time because these updates come out all the time, that's where a service like mine at All American Guardian comes in, because we can keep track of all this for you and update your plugins one by one, make sure that your site is backed up in advance so that if there's any issues, we'll just reinstall the backup. We really just make it hassle-free and headache-free for you. And for the fees that we charge every month, it's such a relief. It's just, we make it so easy, it's just a relief and peace of mind for you to know that you don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. You can just focus on building your business and doing what you know how to do. Whether you're a roofer or a plumber or a lawyer or a doctor, you can just focus on your daily work, and we'll focus on keeping your website up to date and secure. So if you have any questions, as usual, put them in the comments below. Feel free to email me too, james@allamericanguardian.com, if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
All American Guardian, keeping vigil watch over your business website.